you can check a weapon. It has to be unloaded, but you can also check ammunition. It has to be in a locked case, but of course you're the one who locked the case, so you unlock it once you've gotten it out of baggage claim. The thought is, with gun rules, is you want to keep the firearm out of the hands of somebody on an airplane, and that was why you could have it checked. It's like transporting it like any other cargo. I don't know that there was thought put into, well, could somebody use it to transport to an airport and then use that as a way to shoot up the airport? If we're hearing that he reloaded. Josh?
We do have you, Chris.
Okay. Just real quick, if we
Chris,
hear
the suspect apprehended, 26-year-old Esteban Santiago, as does appear to be a handgun that some reports do suggest Santiago took from a bag that had been checked, made his way to a bathroom, loaded that weapon, and then returned to the baggage claim area, opened fire, killing at least 5 and hurting at least 8 more.
So, Josh, that's a semi-automatic handgun, which means the magazine could carry, depending upon if you had a high-capacity magazine or not, 10 to 18 rounds, perhaps. And so we're hearing he reloaded multiple times. So you gives you some sense as to perhaps the number of bullets that were fired. But that is a semi-automatic handgun, which can fire those rounds very quickly. You can pull that trigger back and empty a magazine. That could happen in seconds.
And considering how many bullets that would be in total, it is quite something, perhaps, that only 13 people were struck. Still, tragically, 5 have succumbed to their injuries, and as we did note, 8 more do remain in area hospitals in varying states of recovery. Their conditions unknown at this time. Kristen, as we had that look in at that, we also heard the senator did confirm what we have been reporting as well, that he's been told that Esteban Santiago had been traveling with a piece of military ID, again, on an Air Canada flight. We do not know from where that flight did arrive to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. But Chris, it is also a question for the time in which we live. What are your sources telling you about any possible connection to a terror group as it regards this attack?
Of course, that's going to be a big question, Josh. What we don't know at this point, what we can tell you, and what we learned from this press conference, is that the Broward County Sheriff's Office is still leading this investigation. If or when it would become a terrorism investigation, that means the FBI would take it over. That's one of those things that right now they are trying to talk to this suspect and figure out, why did this happen? If it turns out to be terror, you'll see the FBI take over, but they're going to have to go through his computer. They're going to have to try to talk to him. We don't know if he's cooperating with police. They're going to be trying to talk to friends and family to try to figure out why this happened. And until you can rule out terror, you almost have to treat it on some level like that's what happened, because whether or not it was inspired by something else, it's successfully terrorized a lot of people today. So, you can't rule that out until you know definitively. And at this point, we haven't heard that law enforcement has been able to say definitively one way or the other. But we're only 3 hours into this investigation. One thing that stands out to me here, Josh, is this is a person who opened fire on a crowd of unarmed people, but did not appear to engage police. No law enforcement shots were fired. The suspect was taken into custody without injury.
What would that suggest to you, again, as you mentioned, and as we did hear from the update from 20 minutes ago, to that point, that no shots were fired at the suspect, and that by all accounts, he did unload those 3 magazines, anywhere from 30 to 50 bullets in total, but then lay down his gun, sat down, and allowed himself to be apprehended.
It sounds to me like he shot at a bunch of unarmed people and then chose not to engage the people that have the guns and the body armor. This is somebody who wasn't looking for suicide by cop, wasn't looking to go out in a gun battle with police. That's certainly different than what we saw in the Orlando nightclub shooting, where you had somebody who was prepared to fight to the last.
And that was a shooting recently invoked by Florida Senator Bill Nelson, who joined us just moments ago. Again, we are now showing you some video of the scene just moments following the attack. If you listen closely, of course, you can hear the torment of those witnesses on hand. And certainly, as you can see here, those attending to victims on the ground, which we have blurred. I do want